Hi, Blythe. We're just going to start.
Hi.
So I'm so happy you agreed to do this because I think you're really interesting to talk to and you have a lot of energy and always say fun stuff. And so thank you.
Thank you. I'm just happy to see your face.
I know, I'm happy to see yours too. You sound like you've been really busy.
Yes.
I went to not hiking today. I went with the girls and didn't hike, but then met up afterwards for a Secret Santa. Everybody hiked and I slept.
Well, that's okay. We got to do what we got to do, right?
I know. So I'm going to introduce us what we're doing so that, because I'm recording now. And so for anybody who hasn't seen this before, then we know what it is. Okay. So this mom podcasting is something that I started as the result of going back to grad school for anthropology. And I did an ethnography project about moms in COVID, because I thought it was a really interesting thing to see what that segment of the population is experiencing in this like unusual time, right? Like this is the only time you can look at that, you know? And so, and because I read a report that women are disproportionately, mothers especially of school age kids are disproportionately impacted by this COVID. They lose jobs, they stay home more, even if they do work, and they have to work while caring for kids. And it's a whole like huge life change, more than it is for men. And so as a result of that, I realized that a lot of women like to hear what other people are going through. It makes you feel less alone. And also everybody seems to have some unique kind of coping skill that, you never know what you're going to say that actually just is like ding, light bulb for somebody else, right? So that's kind of what this is. So this is like no pressure to, don't feel free to, you have to, don't feel like you have to answer anything I ask you. But I'll ask you whatever, and you can decide if it's something you want to share or not. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of an open book, so no worries.
You what?
I'm an open book.
You're an open book. Okay, good.
I'm good.
Okay, the first question is, should I keep drinking coffee or should I switch to my cocktail?
Well, okay, so the cocktail's way bigger, so I like that. I was going to say, if you're drinking coffee now, like I would be up all night. I just basically, you're talking about coping. I basically just drink coffee from like 7 to like lunch, and then I stop. But I don't really like consciously realize this. It's just like now my routine of just constantly like carrying around like coffee till noon. And then I'm like, I should.
Are you continuously consuming it for that many hours?
Slowly.
Oh, okay.
Slowly, because I like forget it. I'm like, I'm like pulled in 800 directions, and I'm like, but I'm still not awake. I still need coffee.
Are you getting enough sleep?
Anyway, no, I am. It's just some days like I'm not, but it ebbs and flows.
Well, so to that point, tell me first of all, how old are your kids? What grades are they in? Are you married? Do you work in or out the home? And your husband, if there is one, does he work in or out the home like that? That kind of set the scene. Okay. What's happening in the house?
Yes. Okay. So for starters, I have a son, Tobin. He is 13, 7th grade. And I have a daughter, Piper, who is 9, 4th grade. I am married. Husband is here working full-time from home. They had gone back into the office 2 days a week. And then 2 weeks ago, they shut that back down because of the capacity in the buildings and everything. So now home full-time. And both of my kids we decided to just throw in the towel and do a hybrid homeschool this year. So totally new school. Is with California Charter. So I am now also teacher to them. So I'm doing that. I also own my own business called My Pipers. They're boxer shorts that have been reinvented completely.
Insert huge text here.
Girls at My Pipers. Instagram.
.com.
So, yes, mypipers.com. So I do that and that. So what?
What is My Pipers?
What is it?
Yeah. So we're just for a sidebar. What is it?
I will tell you. Yes. So they are completely reinvented boxer shorts for girls. They're specifically made and tailored for girls. So they have a more custom fit for girls, for, you know, obviously better wear, for better fit underskirts and dresses. They are designed by my own two kids, so all of the designs of them are hand-drawn by them. They're 100% organic cotton, made in like the best manufacturing, eco-friendly place in the world. I love them. I'm so happy to be with them in Bangladesh. They're amazing. And yeah, we just kind of, that's what we do. They're not out anywhere. We're the only place that makes anything of the kind. So I'm doing that, and that's a lot in of its own, but very passionate about it, and I love it. And
touch sensitive kids or something.
Yeah, so Piper had a lot of sensitivity to clothing as a child, still does, but we kind of figured her out through a couple years, and, you know, socks and underwear proved to be the biggest problems, and underwear wouldn't work, any of them. Thousands of dollars spent on every single underwear out in any store. And one day we threw on a pair of my son's boxer shorts. I mean, I just like threw them at her. I was like, here, just try these on, like, for the love. Like, just one morning where I'm not crying and you're not crying. And she put them on, and like, they worked. And we were like, oh my God. And get in the car, and we went to preschool. And it was like the first morning that no tears were shed in like 2 years. And I was like, great, this is amazing. My whole day, I'm doing nothing but buying you boxer shorts. I'm going to go to every store. I'm going to get every kind they have. And we're set. We're done with this journey. And I don't know. I still don't know this day why I thought that they existed. I was just kind of blown away. I went to everywhere. I went to Target. There was Gymboree.
You mean trying to find boxer shorts for girls?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went everywhere. I thought that they existed. I thought, I'm just going to go buy these. Like, I just thought I was just the one who didn't have the idea before. Like, this, I should have been looking for the boxer shorts for girls. Like, duh, like, why didn't I try these before? And they don't exist anywhere. And so for a while, she literally wore my son's, like, the ugly, like, Hanes, like, with the plaid and the itchy fabric for months. And then finally I was like, that's it. We're doing this. I can't sew at all. I've been working on it, but I was just like, I'm going to, like, make these. We're going to get these. Every girl should have a pair of these. I still feel that way, because you can use them in so many different ways for however you want to wear them. And I just dived full in. I was like, we're just making these. And so here we are.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
We're still trying to get out in the world. We're still trying and doing our best, but hopefully they're here to stay, and we have them, and we're ready to roll, trying to get into stores.
I think that's
in COVID.
Good. Thank you for telling me about that. So you were telling me that you have your kids in school, and your husband's working from home, and
yeah.
And you are working for my Pipers yourself, and anything else you're doing too as other work?
Yeah, and then also I had gone back to I had gotten my units to be a preschool teacher when I was pregnant with my firstborn, because at that moment in my life, I was like, I got to get all my school done. And I still was like, I wanted to do this with my life and this with my life. And I knew that I always one day wanted to be a preschool teacher. Perfect world scenario. So of course, last year I totally dove in. I was like, I want to do this. And I was so lucky. I got hired at an amazing preschool, and I was a teacher. I had an amazing co-teacher, and then COVID hit and we were home, and I can't go back to work because, even if my kids weren't homeschooled, it's still only 2 hours a day, and I can't go run a classroom for 2 hours. And my husband's on Zooms from 8 to, 6 or something. So to talk about what you're, I thought in the beginning, I literally was, because of COVID, being pulled out of the workforce. Yeah. And it's really upsetting. I mean, it's still upsetting because, I didn't go back to work full time almost, and being a full-time mom and running my own business, to just being, back in the home.
Well, so how'd you feel about that?
It was really upsetting. It was very, very, very hard for me to just sort of give that up. Yeah. It was like, it's obviously not a job that people do for money. It's a job that people do because they love being with children, and they love teaching children, and they love trying to impart, morals and values and, love of learning to all these little guys out there. And, it was something that I'm not able to do anymore. It's very, it's very hard. I love my little class, and, Zoom is hard, you know, is so happy I went in the Zoom world of teaching and went and did that with them. But it's so foreign in it with the little guys too. It's just really hard to connect with them over Zoom.
Yeah.
I just started teaching though with an amazing platform. It's called Circle Time, and it's called circletimefun.com. And so I'm a new teacher on there. So
Was
I
it
teach 2
invented
days a week
for
there,
this
and I just
time? Was it
Hmm?
for this? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you know, I don't right now. I mean, obviously, for everybody here, everything is so up in the air, and I don't know if I'll ever be back in the classroom soon. So at least, you know, being on Circle Time, I have 2 classes a week, and I have my little connection. I can be myself and do my little, you know, read my little stories and do all the fun things that I, you know, normally would be doing now in my classroom. So it's a little glimpse into that world that I'm really grateful to have. But, you know, I definitely wanted to stay in that world because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen. And, you know,
Well, so
obviously.
this circle time thing, it's is it something just anybody can sign up for? Like if I have a 4-year-old at home, I can just
Yeah.
sign up for it. And like,
Yeah.
what's the price point for that?
So anybody can sign up for it. I actually was doing it with Piper over the summer, trying to find things to do. And they have an amazing teacher on there named Ruth, and she was doing a lot of cooking. And that's like Piper's
Oh, it's for
favorite.
any age, not just preschool.
So it goes, I think they're directed more towards, I think their basis is 3 to 6. So that's my class. But I think it goes like, they say 3 to 8. But, you know, the baking was hard. I had to help her all the way through. And, you know, even if some child, you know, wants a little literacy help, or they do a lot of art projects, you know, I wouldn't say it's for the teenagers, but, you know, definitely a lot of wiggle room on that age range for sure. But yeah, anybody can sign up for it. I think they have 3. I don't want to quote them wrong, but I think they have 3 tiers. So I was doing it. I just signed up for the basic free plan, and that was on-demand classes.
For free?
So for free. I don't know if that's changed.
Okay.
But in the summer we did so many cooking classes, and they were all free, and it's not a live class. And then they have live stream classes. So to help a lot of the moms who are working at home, especially with those little guys, they're doing what I'm a part of, which is called blocks. So the moms or dads log in, caregivers, I'm supposed to say, sorry, log into just one Zoom, and us teachers trickle in and out through that Zoom. So it's brilliant. So you have like you start off in the morning. I'm kind of the morning teacher, and I do a lot of like singing and literacy and a story and a theme. And then hip hop teacher comes in after me. And then, you know, there'll be another art teacher that comes in after. So there's no back and forth and, you know, trying to make mom's life easier at this point. So
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
What's the engagement like?
I don't know. I think it's really, so they're actually on the East Coast. So
But I mean, when you can see your students, right? Like how are you gauging, how is the response seen?
yeah, I think it's great. You know, I'm like, I think this week I had up to 18 kids, which was great. And I try to really, you know, have interaction with each and every one of them. They're little, so it's tricky, but these kids are so savvy. I mean, they know when to like raise their hand and mute and unmute, and I call on them. You know, it's like my one rule is I have to call on you, otherwise it's like complete chaos. But I think really good. I mean, you know, they're little, so you have some that like the screen is blank and they're not even there, and you have some that are, you know, just raising their hand the whole time. So, you know, I would say, I mean, it's like a normal classroom, right?
Yeah.
You have the outspoken, you have the shy, you have the, you know, I would say it's totally the same as in a normal classroom. It's actually quite funny to watch and see, but there's a lot of kids that's a lot of kids for just one little half-hour class.
It is. And you feel like they participate, like they're liking being there.
Yeah, I think so. I tried for my first time, we did a project, so we made menorahs this week, and I'd say half did it. You know, it was hard, it was tricky. You have to have your materials ahead of time, and you have to, you know, so they loved it. They were showing me what they made, and yeah, I think they're into it.
Wow, that's really interesting. I'm so glad to know about that. I'll have to tell people who have smaller kids.
Yeah, check it out. It's amazing. And I think what I love about it too is that all the different plans, the tiers that they have, that you can be a part of it, whether it's just the free plan, or I think you can do as much or as little as you want on it.
Right.
And I love that. I like the flexibility.
Do they even have like a private tutoring kind of situation that they offer?
Not yet. But I can help with that if people want recommendations or need help with that. I've been helping a couple of small younger kinders, and I actually have my daughter with her teacher from a couple years ago, just to kind of keep that connection rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of my co-teachers from my previous school, I'm sure a lot of them are tutoring. So I know the more help, the better is one of my things.
Well, that's one thing I realized is the teachers will tutor, like your own teacher will tutor your kids over the summer. I did that one time with one of my kids who would help with math, and they tutored his third grade teacher tutored him over the summer. I mean,
Perfect.
I know. I guess I didn't think of that until I was like, do you know anybody that tutors? She's like, I do.
Yeah. I know. The same thing happened. I was at school one day, like after school, and we were late, and I was picking up Piper, and her teacher, she was in there like working on a project, and she had like 2 other kids, and she was tutoring them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like duh.
Yeah.
And then I like think that.
Yeah. So
I tutored in high school for extra money.
You tutor for extra money, or you did? You say you do?
I did in high school.
Oh yeah.
Way back when.
So now, how many hours a day do you spend doing this job, this preschool, the circle time job?
So it's technically, I only have it's a 30-minute class, but you're on setting up everything I have like a producer, which is awesome because they totally help me out with like names or, technical difficulties. So you log on like 15 minutes and I wait a little bit after. So it's like an hour, which it equates to like 2 hours of my day, but I like type A personality. I'm like planning like the whole like week before, days before, and I'm writing down everything. So it's so funny when I break it down to an hour, because I feel like it takes over like 3 days a week of my life. But I mean, I don't know. I guess each class would be about maybe 3 hours total with the planning and then the online and setting everything up and making sure I have all my materials. And because I've been checking out books from the library because I don't have everything here. Mm-hmm. And I've been making felt boards and, I don't have all my tools that I would normally have. My kids are a little older, so I actually brought a lot of stuff with me to my classroom last year. Still there.
Oh, you probably had to abandon it there, didn't you?
We did. I mean, they're back because they're open. But yeah, I left it there. I hope to go back one day. So
did you say your kids they're all the way at home right now? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. They're schooling all the time at home right now, right?
Yeah. So I'm homeschooling. So yeah. So
you're homeschooling, or they're schooling through the kids?
No, I'm homeschooling them.
You're homeschooling your own kids based on a homeschool curriculum. You are the teacher.
Yes, it's a hybrid homeschool. So what the difference is that right? I have what?
That's new for you.
Yes, it's this year. Yeah.
Okay.
My Piper's been Piper's been asking to be homeschooled for like 2 years. I don't even know if she really knew what that meant, but just a lot of things happening at school that she just wasn't loving school in general. And she's in a lot of sports. She's in like 11 hours of sports, every afternoon she has a sport. And so homeschool, like, it really speaks to her and the type of kid she is. And I thought, well, if this year isn't the year to try something new, I don't know what is.
Right.
And there's a school that's like it's like blocks away from me that I had heard about as being amazing. And I spoke to so many people and they were just gushing about this school. And I thought, you know what, we might as well try it. It is a hybrid. So it means I have help. I have a lot of help. So there's a coaching teacher that I'm like specifically assigned to. So he kind of like will keep me on track. So if we're off, if we're like lagging on something, he can make sure that we're on target for, all the dates and all of the standards that we have to hit, and the books are all from them. And like my older one, he's in 7th grade honors math, and I want nothing to do with it. Like, don't even don't even I don't even want to look at your book, even though I correct and everything. So he has a math lab that he joins every day.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's invaluable. And, there's only 7 kids on that. It's amazing. It's so great. We're it's amazing. I mean, it's a lot on me. But seeing how much my kids, the content that they've been able to get through just kind of on their own, and just I've done a lot of supplementations. It's been a huge learning curve for me. It's been very hard to transition from mom teacher and keeping them in line, and it was really hard in the beginning, but I feel like we've kind of got a little bit of a rhythm going. We're still working it out, but so far I love it, and the school's amazing. So it's not just like homeschool where it's just here's your books and here's you, mom, and go for it. So I have a lot
of a community.
So yeah, but it's still they're not on Zooms. There's no Zooms. There's just the math lab. There's some workshops, but those are mostly they're just extracurricular. They're fun stuff. They have food photography that Piper was on, and they had a Minecraft class that of course Tobin was on. And so they have some amazing creative stuff that they're doing. It's so far, they love it. They're we're never going back to school.
What made you decide to have your son homeschool as well? Just because you were already doing Piper?
Yeah.
He wasn't at school anyway, so what's the diff?
Yeah, I just figured, it was interesting was the way that people were talking about the school, and the way they were just gushing. I mean, the words and the adjectives and how it changed their kid's life. And I was literally well, I can't be that mom where I'm giving one kid this quality education and not try it with this kid. So yeah, we're just trying it. I mean, being older is definitely different, socially and everything. So we'll see how that goes. But so far they're loving it,
well, and I imagine that when you were not in COVID, they're probably having social situations through the school too, right?
Right, exactly. And that's the other part about it, is that I'm also realizing they normally have a back to school day, where I didn't even know that they had that. So it's all these other bonuses that if we do obviously stick with it for another year, there's all this new stuff that we'll get, hopefully, if COVID's gone, managed at this point. But yeah, there's all these things that they normally have. They have a big, snow day or whatever they have that we haven't been a part of any of that. So that's just these extra pluses that hopefully we'll get to do.
If your expectation at this point is so low, everything else is going to be better, even better, right?
I have zero expectation. Yeah, I have a zero expectation life. I'm you know what? If I get this done today, it's a win. It's a win. If I check my emails today, I'm happy.
So how are you transition? Throughout the day, it sounds like what you're doing is you're flipping back and forth from mom to teacher, teacher to outside kids, teacher to your own kids. And there's all these different hats you put on throughout the day. How are you managing that? How do you organize that in your brain? And
Right. So not very well. I feel I literally feel I am pulled all day long, and it's funny, I always thought I adjusted so easily as a person. I'm realizing that I don't. I actually take a while, and oh good, you switched. What are you drinking?
The coffee has this thick taste in my mouth, and this is very refreshing.
Wait, what are you drinking?
Vodka with aloe juice.
Oh, it's they cancel each other out.
They totally do. I feel healthier after.
I know, you're basically drinking air at this rate.
Yeah, it's you have to hydrate, Blythe. You have to hydrate.
You do. Okay, so anyway, so I thought I adjust so well and blah blah, but I realized the one thing that helps me throughout the day now is, which took me, it's so dumb, but I was the person that, I haven't been working out, especially since hiking with you and working, I'd have to get 3 kids plus myself with lunches out of the door before 7 o'clock in the morning.
Actually, that was sort of a benefit in a way, it gave you structure, right? You make it happen.
I always like looked kind of like presentable and like I was up and like, you know, I always was showered and yeah. And then COVID and you're like, oh my God, like, why would I possibly get dressed today? There's no reason. So yeah, it was a lot. But it was like, we're on it. We got this. We're good. Every kid's set where they need to be in all the compartments and blah, blah, blah. And so early COVID, I was instead just like waking up and checking on my emails. So instead of, you know, getting ready and getting up, you know, I'd be doing my own stuff, which was so great because I'd get all my work done, like for my Pipers. I'd get everything done, and then the kids would wake up. We would just get through the day, and it was summer, and, you know, we'd go to the beach, we'd do whatever. And then I decided I'm losing my mind. Like I'm wasn't even homeschooling, but I was just losing. I'm being pulled back and forth, and I wanted to work out again. And every day at like 5 o'clock, I'd be like, oh my gosh.
You mean over summer?
Over summer.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm late to the party of working out. I was like, I wanted to just like, oh, I could have done this or gone on this hike and did it. But I never I could never like get there. They was always, you know, emails. They constantly would be coming in. And I figured out I'm just like not reliable to rely on myself to work out like at all. Like I need to be held accountable. So right when school started, my brother referred me to this amazing like mat Pilates class and this yoga studio. And I do them every morning at like 7:30 or 8, depends on which day. And I swear it changed my life online on Zoom. Okay. But it's changed like how I feel throughout the day. Like even if I'm pulled in 8,000 directions, which I am, you know, it's like the My Piper's hat, the mom hat, the homeschool hat, the like, you know, make dinner hat, the carpool hat, you know, well, not carpool anymore, but, you know, taking Piper where she needs to go. I at least feel like healthier, and I feel like I got something that I personally needed, even if my email inbox is a mess. But I don't know, there's something about it. And I hadn't done that in years. And I was super late to the party. I started doing that right when school started. So I was like, okay, I'm working out. And then I'm homeschooling my kids till like 1 or, you know, 2. And like, I'm still in my pajamas. Like I haven't done any
pajamas. Look what I'm wearing right now. I put this shirt on because it's the Christmassiest color that I could find in my closet that worked with the bra I was already wearing. Okay. I'm wearing pajama pants. Oh, you can see it. Pajama pants that don't match at all. And I'm wearing socks that have, wait a minute, they have the little toe for flip-flops. That I bought.
Oh my gosh.
I look fantastic. This is how we look now.
Well, like I'm wearing my like snowman pants and my slippers.
There you go.
Like you can't even tell, but they're like a bunny.
Some ladies on the street said, well, we wake up in the morning, you know, and then you know, at some point we change from our morning pajamas into our afternoon pajamas.
Right.
Look, we have to say this because I think that we all feel a little bit stupid that this is the way we look. I think everybody looks this way.
I agree. I'm like,
shame.
I mean, Piper's like gymnastics, they got to a point where they didn't even want us like getting out of our cars to drop the kids off. So I'm like, okay, I don't even need to be dressed.
She goes to gymnastics? She actually goes physically to a place? How do they do that? They wear masks?
Well, actually, they just closed. But she's been doing soccer, reopened, I don't know, early September, I want to say. So, and you know, they stay in their square and they have to wear a mask to and from. So soccer's been open and gymnastics opened, I think, in July. So she's been going to gymnastics this whole time. Yes, they have to wear masks. They're in small groups. The whole gym is taped off in like 6-foot sections. So it's like you have to stand on your piece of tape and then you have to hop to your other piece of tape. And they wipe down all the mats. Like I see her like with a spray bottle, like wiping down the mats. So it's as safe can be. Obviously it's, you know, it's up to the parents' discretion, I feel, at this point with things like that, you know, but I mean, it's her life. She loves gymnastics. I mean, it was really hard when she went from working out like 11, 12 hours a week to like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, that
probably like her brain was exploding.
Yeah. I mean, it was really hard to watch. And the Zoom workouts, I mean, they try and they do them so well, but like we have tile floor and like there's nothing worse for your body than working out on tile floor.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, we just gave up on it. Yeah. And like, it's just weirdo.
I want to back you up because you keep saying things that I want to ask you more questions about. So hold on a second.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to know about this mat class. So is it something just anybody could join?
Yes.
What is it?
So anybody can join. I'll give you her handle. She's amazing. I don't want to spell her name wrong. So her name's Katanya. It's oh, my phone, sorry. So she does so many different classes. And if you go to her Instagram, okay, it's Katanya. So she's K-H-E and then Tanya, T-A-N-Y-A. And anybody can join. Just click on her link. She has, it's called
Instagram?
Movement
So
Training.
She's at Katanya?
Yeah, at Katanya. It's amazing. And I love it too, because it's like 45 minutes. So it's like in, out, and it's fantastic.
You're saying 7:30 a.m. Pacific time in the morning. You can go to Instagram and work out for free.
Yeah, so she's actually 8 to 8:45, and I do it every Tuesday, Thursday. So if you want to join me.
Yeah.
But she has other classes. Like I know my brother and my mom do like a 6 o'clock one on Wednesday. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm already like drinking wine by that time. That's what I've been up since like 6. That's way too late for me. But so she has classes, and she has classes with other friends that she, I guess, is collaborating with, and just check it out because
that's amazing. So it's totally free, and it's like on a schedule. So you're like, okay, you know what?
It's not free.
Oh, it's not free.
This one is no, it's not free.
Okay, what is she?
So she's, I think she's $15 a class, but she does a lot of like sales and stuff. Like she did a holiday sale of, it was, I think 10 classes for $100.
I think that 15 is pretty reasonable. People pay that to go out to a studio, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think anything over 15 is a stretch. I think, you know, yeah, I think anything between 10 and 15 is awesome. And also like, this is her own company, you know, this is her own thing. Like I want to support her. And, you know, I like all these people that are, you know, entrepreneurs and struggling. It's hard to see, you know, so I love finding people like that.
Well, and especially teachers like that, they probably usually work sort of like as almost like independent contractors or something for bigger companies. You know, they're not like, it's not like they have 401ks through these jobs, you know, they're sort of independent anyway. So it's
right. Yeah.
So I like this because you have one teacher, you know, teaches a certain time, you like her class, you know that every certain days of the week you're going to get up. And I love that it's Matt, because this is my problem with working out in the morning. I have the same problem you do, because if I don't do it in the morning, the whole day gets up to wine time and then it's over. So, you know, things keep happening. I keep thinking, okay, I'm going to do it after this. And then the kids will come up and go, oh, you know, I want something, and I can't turn the kids away. They have no social life. They have teenagers who don't have any social interaction but me. You know what I mean? Like, that's so sad. I mean, they have friends online, but I mean, as far as teenagers should be at school interacting with their peers, you know? And so here we have these teenagers cooped up in the house, and they want to come up and say, hey, look what I just saw on my phone. I have to pay attention, or that's it. They don't get any, you know, they don't get that face to face. So this kind of thing happens all day until, you know, then the day's gone, and then I got to go make dinner, and I don't want dinner anyway. I hate dinner. I wish dinner would disappear off the face of the earth. I'm not hungry at that time of day. That's exactly when I want to be working out a lot of the time. Like, I'm so mad at dinner.
I know. I agree. I don't like dinner. Like I mean, I make dinner all the time, and sometimes but I have to like really like disconnect to like make dinner. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, I need to do this, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do this. And then, you know, and like the nights that I do, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make dinner. Like it is like a good disconnection. But it's hard. It's hard to get to that point. Like there's some nights where I'm like, you know, and like, it's hard. And like, we're home, but like Piper has her sports. So I'm like, well, I'll be back at 6:30. So like, unless somebody's magically going to cook dinner, it's not going to cook itself. So,
your husband does it for you sometimes? Like he cooks dinner?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he can do like, you know, we do pizza and taco night, and he's like become a pro at those for sure. But, you know, cause there's some nights where I'm like, Sorry, can't make it. Figure it out.
That's it.
You know?
Some people starve. They're fine. There's always something in the fridge. Go.
Yeah. I
yourself.
mean, it's just because it's just all exhausting. It's just like I mean, you know, just the being home, like all of us. Like I'm like, why the dishes? Like, I mean, I'm sure this is so overdone and complained, but oh my gosh, the dishes. Like, I can't. I just walk by it. I just kind of wave to it now. I'm like, hello.
Have you taught your family, your children, how to wash their dishes yet?
They each have, you know what? They mostly put them away. I would rather if they put them away, because like then they wash them, they don't wash them very well. So that is, I do delegate certain things to them. You know, older one takes out the trash, that, you know, but like the washing of the dishes has not come out very well, and then I have to redo it. So they put them away.
Last night, my 14-year-old didn't want to walk the dog, which is his job, after dinner, and so we said, well, you know, you could wash the dishes instead, thinking he'd go, okay, I'll walk the dog. He's like, okay, I'll wash the. He was immediately in the kitchen, like scrubbing, and he loved it so much. He's like, can I always wash the dishes? I was like, yeah, awesome. You can always wash the dishes. Pans too, though.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
We'll see. That was one night, you know. Walking the dog used to be fun too.
Yeah, they're just all starving for like something different right now, you know.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about you. So you were talking about changing hats. Like, how do you like? Okay, because what I'm getting a picture of your life is that you constantly have this to-do list going in your head, and your brain can never shut off, and you're maybe even irritated when you're called to do something because you were mentally already going over there to do something, and this kind of makes you mad or irritated or something about that, right? Like, am I getting you right? Because that's what it sounded like. And how do you
know, Angelina, I try not to show that, but I'll be like, I just sat down. I'm like, what? Just sat down. Like, I have one email I have to send. What do you want? Like, you know, it used to be that I would do like emails like at 10 o'clock at night, like pre-COVID. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I would just like totally catch up at night. I am so tired by like 8. I can't even like keep my eyes open. I'm like, there's no checking any emails after like 8:30. It's just, and then the kids are up late. I mean, you know, you have teenagers. Oh my God. I'm like, go to bed.
They stay up all night sometimes. Like, really, what's the difference? All they have to do is go to school and then nap in between and then nap after. There's nothing else to do. They're teenagers. This is what they do.
But that's good for you that they're not out, because I know there's so many teenagers that are out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
Never mind. Maybe I shouldn't say anymore. I want to throw some people under the bus.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't want to go out. They're pretty conscious about not getting sick and stuff. They're good about it.
I think that's amazing. I think that's awesome. That's great. It's hard. Yeah.
So, but back to you though, how do you manage this? Like, what do you do to make yourself, like, how do you organize your time in this way?
Yeah. So mentally, I think that so I told the kids, I'm like, we have to start school. Piper's a little bit earlier because she really needs one-on-one time with me. I'm like, we have to start school at like 9 and 9:30. Because then if we let, it's like the working out scenario. If you let it go all day, then by, like 2 o'clock, I'm like pulling my hair out, because I'm like, this is what's important, is that, in homeschool, a lot of it it's super flexible, right? But, you can't be this like loosey-goosey, homeschool parent, because then like literally nothing gets done. So I try to give them breaks, and but I'm really like, we have to get this stuff done. So what I do is I work out, and then I'm like, yay, at least like I've done that one thing today. And then we start school. Like, I make breakfast, we start school. I usually have to like drag Tobin out of bed, but a whole another story. And we start school at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then, we bust out as much as we can. I know that they get really annoyed and they want to finish, but everybody needs like a brain break. So we'll go outside for a little bit, jump on the trampoline, and then I will like check my emails or do something. I tell them like, you know, like you guys need to play for a minute and I'm going to check some emails, you know, or do whatever. It's not as structured as I'm making it sound, but at least like I can get like a brief 30 minutes break, whatever. You guys go out in the cul-de-sac, ride your bikes for a few minutes, and I can like look at my phone. Then we come back, finish school. And then, I mean, it's so funny. It's like a blessing and a curse, but the fact that the older one, you know, Tobin is like super, you know, into video games. Like by the time he's on that, he's just like checked out and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. So he does that. And then Piper will usually do sports. And by that time I'm like child free. So I literally just get on my phone and I do all my emails and all my, if I need to do social media, if I need to do curriculum planning, you know, whatever I need to do. It still never gets done. And I make a lot of lists.
You what? What'd you say?
I make a lot of lists. Like I'm constantly like rewriting, like I'm like old school. Like I like write stuff down. I rewrite it. I like seriously like look, like I rewrite. I like so it's not, I mean, it's not as structured also because, you know, we're in COVID and mental health is a huge deal. And, you know, I take that very seriously. And the kids, you know, from my preschool background and stuff, they need to play. Like they need to get out. They need fresh air. They need to play. Even if they, I mean, and most of them don't know and don't want it, or you have to get your kids out and whatever, walk around the block. I don't care. Sit outside on a blanket in your backyard. They need to get out and they need to get dirty and they need, you know, that's what they need. And so for me, especially during this time, you know, if we don't get as much school done as I wanted or whatever, but they were bike riding and we got really into it and whatever, or we went and played through the Frisbee or something, you know what? I'm happier with that than doing a couple pages of math. Go get that math. That math will come.
So you feel like if they can exercise, they actually kind of speed up the math anyway?
Yeah. And, you know, it's been another fantastic part of homeschool for me is seeing, you know, a lot of the curriculum, it comes full circle around. So like 1 week, you know, they were both doing, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. It was like bacteria. And so we like grew mold, you know, off bread, but they both were on bacteria. I'm like, you're in 7th and you're in 4th and you guys are doing the same thing. And, you know, so for parents who are always, oh my God, my child's going to be, you know, academically behind and whatever, they're not going to be. They're doing just fine. You know, if they need extra help along the way, of course, sure. But these things repeat themselves. A lot of it's with like more complicated language, more complicated experiments, more complicated terminology, more requirements of the child, but it's repetitive. And it's been interesting to see that. So let your kids play, like kick them out safely.
Okay, how old's your oldest?
13.
How do you get him to go out? I can't get my kids to go out. Well, so mine are 17 and, almost 17 and 14. They will not. They'll go and sit in the hammock maybe with their phone.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, it's funny. I try to be like a rewards-based parent. And so that's one of the rewards is that if you work out, it's a requirement every day. I mean, also it's really hard having a sister who works out 3 hours a day and like a brother does nothing. Like that's not okay. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
And they see me working out and, you know, so, you know, it's definitely become a requirement here. And so, you know, if he doesn't get that workout in or whatever it may be, he can't play on video games. And, you know, he's 13. That's a little bit younger than yours. So it's trickier when they're older. But if, you know, and he wants those video games. I mean, that is like the carrot. Like, that's it. So he does it. Like, no questions asked. And, you know, I mean, sometimes it's literally like I make him pogo stick around the cul-de-sac. It's hard. I mean, I cannot do that. And he can do laps, like, without falling. That's hard. I'm like, if you go out and do that, you know, for 20 minutes, that's it. You're done. You know, so
I want a pogo stick. That sounds good.
It's amazing. I can't even do it. I'm like terrible. But yeah, like jump rope. There's all those cool like CrossFit. There's some apps that I know some people do, and there's jump rope apps, and there's, you know, you don't need a lot, but it's a requirement here, and he knows. My Tobin knows. Like I don't mess around. there's so much leeway that I give for so many things, but there's certain things that are absolute no for me. And that's one of them. So also that kid, he's like, he needs to move. He needs to move.
Everybody needs to move. I feel like I'm so lazy with, you know what it is? I get so exhausted of just being like the taskmaster, like, gotta work out. I don't want to. And I'm like, you know what? My mental health is important too. And I cannot with that. Every time, like it just like every time it's like another little arrow in my heart. Like I'm trying to deal with my life. It's too. And I get so frustrated with the kids. Like, you know, I might get an excuse right now because I want to be you. I want to make my kids do stuff like that. You know, I want to make my kids more active, but that's one of those things that I've just decided that is an uphill battle that I just like. I make them healthy food. I nag them about that all day. You know, thank God kids, like whatever I'm doing, they're not interested in drugs, drinking, anything at all. Period. Like the opposite. They'll go up on like the bandstand and say destroys communities or whatever. Like they're like, so something's going right there. Like I just try to count up the things that I'm getting right, and you know, like maybe the exercise thing is just going to have to not succeed. I don't know, but I want them to. So you're kind of giving me encouragement. I'm going to have to be less lazy about that. Figure it out.
I mean, you know, you know, kind of, I like to, you know, you have to, it's like scaffolding, like you build on what you already have, right? So if you already have your rules and like they need to do, you know, like a chore day or, you know, their schoolwork, and then you just build it in. You say, till you get, you know, whatever they want, their phone, their show, whatever they get, you know, this is one other thing, you know, I'm upping the ante. Sorry, everybody's gonna be really pissed off. It's fine. But, you know, I think, you know, also you're such an amazing outdoor hiker and you're super good at all this stuff. Like your kids are gonna get that from you, and you just need to enforce it. I know that's tricky, but I think they know who you are. They know how good you are at that stuff. So you just need to, like, whatever you've got going, just build in that other one thing.
I get it. Yeah, that's true. I'll figure it out. You're actually, though, just saying that you just like make it a hard line. Like that's just it. That's just the way it is. That's kind of what it takes. You're right. I got to figure that out for myself. Okay. That's a good one. I got that one.
Like my kids know me. Like you do not, like if you're like, for me, the most painful thing is like, you know, talking unkindly to one another. Like I just can't handle when they're just so like mean to each other and they're pretty good, but you know, it's so painful for me, and it's like an absolute like deal breaker. Like, and it's a, you know, and every time it happens, you know, it's like it's a thing, and we, you know, we get through it, but it's really painful. But they know that that's one of the things that I don't tolerate. Extra dessert, I really don't care. Like I just, you know, like, but they know, like they know me, and there's about 5 things that I do not budge on. And I think just pick the 5, make it one of the 5, because you know it is healthy. And we're talking about, I'm sure your kids have learned a lot about COVID and health and vitamins and, you know, strength and vitality and living through this. And you know, you're gonna have a story.
How much they love computers.
I know. I mean, what did you do in COVID? Nothing. Fortnite
games for a year.
Yeah, I know. And I read like one book. What was it like? Oh my gosh, who was it? Like Leonardo da Vinci, like in the Spanish flu, that's when he created his most successful inventions or something. And I'm like, what are our kids doing?
Okay, but in the defense of everybody else who wasn't Leonardo da Vinci, other people didn't.
What did they all do?
Right? What did they do?
That's very true. I never think of it that way. They were all drinking. Yes.
They were drinking. They were
their socks and their like pajamas, and that's all they were doing. You're right. I don't mind being one of those people. You seem good though. You seem happy. Like you kind of seem like you got yourself sorted and it's all clipping along and everything's good. You know, it's funny. I do feel that way, and it's funny that I feel that way on day, you know, whatever it is of school, and it's the last day like of break. I think you caught me in a moment where I'm like, oh my God, like I don't have to homeschool for 2 weeks.
Oh,
Like,
because this is the last day of school for a while. No, that's right. I forgot.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So see, that's all it is. 2 more weeks, we'll have another one, and I'll be like,
Okay,
be
so
like,
give,
what?
give me a little bit of that, Blythe, for just a second, just so I can,
Okay,
you know,
just a second.
I can probe that for a second. I've seen that Blythe before.
I know you have. I've had my many. I can do that too.
Okay,
I'm
so
multitasking.
when you're in that mood, because, okay, I'll tell you, a lot of women I've been speaking to, they really feel a lot of pressure and like there's no relief from it. It's just more, 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 more. It's a never ending demand on time. You don't ever go home from it. You never get the weekend. It's constantly, pressure to perform. Like that's a feeling that a lot of people have. I'm not saying you have to have that, and maybe you don't have that, but I'm saying that if there's anything in your experience that you could speak to about that, that's always helpful for other people to hear about. And maybe it's not your experience. Maybe this has actually been a liberating time for you in some ways. I know it has for me. I love quarantine. It's the best thing ever. It totally slowed my life down because I'm a do too many things person, so by having most of the things that I would do, it just eliminated. I'm getting more sleep. I'm really learning how to take better care of myself. Like sleep is a big one, and just like saying, actually, to be honest, cutting people out of my life that I just were toxic. And I don't have to I don't even have to make an excuse to not see them, just things like that. Just cleaning it up. I really like it. So, I'm not one of those people that feels like so oppressed, but some people are.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard because for me, when my husband, he actually moved back, so he had an office and he was working for himself, and he moved back home. I want to say, maybe October of 2019. Yeah, so maybe October, and no, sorry, obviously it was earlier. So I think it was the end of the school year. So it was like August 2019. And that was when I decided to get a job because I was like, I can't handle it. Like I need quiet. I need, not like you feel like also I feel like as a female and as a woman, and you're talking about performing, and I feel like there is this kind of like, what are you doing? What are you up to? What do you like, always this like questioning of us in the house. And it's like, what, and it's like, what, don't ask me what I'm doing. I'm like doing 8,000 things that you just don't know that I'm doing, but I don't know how I got through that with COVID, but that was literally my reaction a year ago. He was like, I'm moving my office back home because it just made sense financially. And I was like, great, I'm out. And, I think that says a lot for me to go get a job full time, just because your husband moved home. And, there's more to it. Like I felt personally that it was the right time. The kids were the right age. It kind of fell into my lap. It was just a timing thing. But, I always felt that way, like always just kind of introverted. I love COVID too. Needing my space. And, so it's been really hard, like I think you just set your boundaries. And again, I think because we're all forced into this, and I think letting go of a lot of things. So, I'm pretty clear when, like, to my family, like, I'm like, you guys, like, I need space. Like, I'm going out for run errands, and like, I don't, again, my kids are older. So it's like, I feel like like 14, he's on video games. Like it's a little bit more manageable than when they were little, and they constantly have to be entertained. So I think that age bracket is just, I can't even imagine. Well, I can't imagine because we've been through it, but that age bracket is so hard. I mean, even Piper does not like video games. And so, it's kind of like, mom, I'm like,
right.
You're like, stop talking. It's real. It's
like, how do you put her
It's really hard.
And at you when you're trying to get things done and she's coming at you wanting social time. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. I think that, there's a lot to be said about being bored. And I think it's okay to tell your kids, you know, like, I have work to do. And, you know, I don't want, especially I work like so sporadically throughout the day. It's nuts. So, you know, if I'm like, I need 20 minutes, and, you know, they find stuff to do. And that's a big part, I think, of growing up. And I think it's a big part that our kids are missing right now, is being bored. And it's fascinating what they come up with when they're bored. My daughter now is like a crazy crocheter. Like she can crochet anything, and she found that on her own. There's another amazing website called Outschool. Have you heard of Outschool? Oh my gosh. Okay, so Outschool has changed my life. Like changed my life.
What is this? Outschool.com?
It's outschool.com.
Okay.
And any class, any like talent, any what am I trying to say? Hobby, anything your kids want to learn, it's on there. From the craziest stuff, like there was worm farming, to like my Tobin will do Roblox classes, like video game classes. I can't tell you the breadth of material that's on there. And it's not just from teachers. And what I love about Outschool is that they say that, you know, you don't have to be a teacher to teach on our website, because there's so many things that, you know, passions like your, you know, all of your beading, and you could go and teach like class on beading, and you don't have to be a teacher to go do that, because there's so many people out there in the world that have so many talents, and this is the platform to share it on. I mean, Piper has taken some classes with the most amazing, talented teachers, people, moms I've ever seen. It's amazing.
It's for kids.
It's for kids. I actually wish it was for me. I'm kind of annoyed by that, but she's taken this crochet class since.
There are sites like that for adults.
Yeah. She's taken this crochet class since May, and this kid can crochet anything. And she found that because I think she was bored one day, and she's definitely like a lifelong learner. And she just started going, and I was like, just pick a class, and she picked crochet, you know, and it's a big website. Like if you go on it takes as long or as little as you like to go through. And she found it. And I think because I was checked out one day, I was like, I have to do what I have to do. Like, you know, I've definitely had my moments where I'm like, I'm so behind, and you guys have to go figure it out for yourself right now. You know, that's hard to say for the moms of younger kids, because they need supervision and they need, but I mean, activities, kits, Play-Doh, make Play-Doh with your kids.
Well, I like this too for like people who have only children. You know, you can't always be the only source of the world for them during this time. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend who's a divorced mother with an only child, and she works from home. You know, it's a lot. That's a lot of, you know, responsibility. Yeah.
No, and, you know, I'm always about like the helpers. There's more help out there, and there's so many things to learn. And I would say go to Circle Time or go to Outschool and pick a couple classes. And again, that is my breakaway point. Like she has, I know every Friday at 1:00, she has a crochet class, and she's had this since May. And I will schedule, if I have like a Zoom call or something, I'll schedule it Friday at 1:00. And you know, so I would definitely say get some classes going, get some, you know, outside different skills going. And it's fascinating to see what your kids come up with. It really is.
I love that recommendation. That's really, really helpful. That's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah. And you know, also like,
go ahead.
Meeting new people.
What? No, you said also meeting new people?
Meeting new people, like on Zoom, like you know, the people they meet, both my kids, like it's people from all over the country. That's amazing. Like that, as a kid, that would never have happened to us. You know, I think that's just so cool. I hope it continues. Like, I love being at home too. I think it's fascinating. You know, they're like kids in Delaware, and it's raining outside, and they can't hear the kid because the rain is pounding. I mean, I think I just think it's incredible.
That is incredible.
I love that.
That is some good exposure for the kids too. Talk about socializing, because do they also get to? So they're in like a Zoom class with other kids that they don't know. If they can all see each other and interact like we are right now.
Exactly. It's all on Zoom. It's awesome. Yeah, and you know, they're same, like they're shy kids, they're, you know, but I mean, if she comes out talking about these kids, I'm like, who? What? It's great.
I love that.
I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've been talking for about an hour, and I don't want to keep you too much longer from your family and your responsibilities. So I'm going to kind of wind this up. I think you've given me some really, really good ideas and tips and stuff that pass on. Amazing. Thank you. I want to ask, is there anything that I didn't ask you, or that you want to, like a burning desire that you want to talk about or say, or anything like, that we didn't talk about yet?
I don't know. I love why. I love the why. I love your why in doing this. And I do believe that, this in particular, I think parents are being punished. I think there's not enough, and again, it's nobody's fault. Nobody's to blame here, but I think there's not enough verbiage around, parents right now and families and how much they're struggling and what this internally looks like for everybody. And I do think, especially for women, and especially for women, who were taken from the workforce and who are whatever you do, grocery store, a driver, whatever you do, you're back at home with your children. And I think that's really, really hard. I loved getting a paycheck. It was just this it's stability, it's, it's comfort. Sometimes we really had relied on only that, and to be just at home and you feel like your sense of purpose and you're lost. I think that's incredibly hard for women, especially. And I don't know how to navigate that. But I think it needs to be talked about a lot more. And I also hope that, a lot of new jobs will come out of this, and a lot of new creativity will come out of it, and a lot of acknowledgement about how hard it is to raise kids will come out of all this, and
I like your positive attitude that something good can grow out of, like the wildfire, it's just kind of.
Yeah. It always does. Right.
Yeah.
So, if somebody said to me, 5 years ago, like, oh yeah, one day you'll be teaching online preschool, like, you are like nuts. Like, you're crazy. Like, that doesn't even exist. Right.
Uh-huh.
That's only 5 years ago. So, there's a lot of magic out there. I think that a lot of good will come about it, but I think that raising awareness about it.
And, I'd like to add to that too and say that, I think that parents should ask non-parents, like maybe you have older neighbors, or maybe you have some friends that, don't have kids, ask them to please entertain your child for a while. Like, however that looks, that is a huge way that the community could support families right now. I think if you're afraid to social distance, if you're afraid to get together in person, maybe you can just play cards online, or I don't know what you can do, like do something like this, like teach a kid a skill or something, or take them for a walk, or take them for a bike ride, or do something like please help get those kids away, because one thing, we're with the kid. I know I'm with the kids so much that they're like, they don't even listen to me half the time, because I'm mom. They're like, yeah, wah, 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 like the Peanuts, teacher, right? And if like the neighbor came every Thursday at 3, and they're like, oh, we're here for that bike ride, suddenly that's a fun new activity. It's not just mom, I don't want to, like,
and it's for moms. Then you're like, okay, 3:30, see ya.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's help for the parent. Yeah. Like, and I feel like people don't know, like my next door neighbors, they're retired, maybe, I don't know, I'm just making this up, but maybe they would love something to do, I think that we should feel, if we know somebody well enough, ask for help. Like, would you commit to entertaining my kid for an hour once a week, play Monopoly or something?
What hold on one second. I don't know why I never asked for help as a kid. Like, I don't know why. And it's funny, I have this above my desk and it says, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. Yes.
And like, it's so true. I've totally had to retrain myself to be like, you can't do everything. And our kids should know that too. And I think, the older generation too, everybody
needs people to help. And maybe they'll say no. You'll be exactly where you started. But maybe they'll say yes, and then you get help, right?
Right. I mean, because you don't know till you ask, right?
Yeah. And, pass the word on. If you know anybody who's like retired or doesn't have kids or is bored or something, all they're doing is watching TV and want something to do, tell them, hey, somebody with a kid, go ask if you can entertain that kid because the parents need you to do that. That would be amazing community service.
No, it's, but hopefully those websites will help if nobody's heard of them before, because I mean, like we're saying, like, there is so much learning happening, now it's amazing. And, get the kids, give them something new to do. I mean, you don't know what they're going to like. And there's so much out there, and it's, you can just kind of spin it a little bit differently.
Yes. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for all of your awesome insights.
My pleasure.
I always find you really inspiring, and you have not disappointed yet again.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel that same way about you. So thank you. I love that you're doing this. This is awesome.